Hey guys, welcome back to another video by Anthony. Today I wanted to discuss something that I personally feel like is either like under discussed or I might be one of the only ones that like have this opinion, but I feel like I wanted to share this for a lot of people that are looking forward to playing Mitsurugi post the first Overframe set because we're getting the End of the World Ruler, which historically has been very, very important for the Pure Mitsurugi deck in the OCG. That card, alongside of Harmonia and Spark, which we already have, pushed Mitsurugi to be stronger than full power Cool Tune for 1 or 2 weeks of the format for their format. So I wanted to give my main arguments on why I don't think this will be the case in the TCG. So right now, if you wanted to just take a picture of this, and then this is just my main arguments, I'll go over it in the next few minutes. But if you just wanted all of the arguments that I have right here, you can just take this picture and you can like leave or whatever. But if you want to hear me explain it, I'll explain it all at once. So I think it's overhyped. I think Mitsurugi's end board is no longer winning enough. Obviously, this is debatable. A lot of people think that this end board is still very winning. I personally don't think so. The Roland matchup is literally unwinnable. The Brandon matchup is very hard. Like, not unwinnable, but very hard. And then I think Gallant Thief will be a much better support card for Mitsurugi than this card. And I think that Mitsurugi will see increased representation via splashing it with the Cyber Sling 2 than making it pure with the End of the World Ruler. But before we get into those points, let me introduce you to End of the World Ruler in case you don't know what it does. If you already know what it does, then you can skip over this part. So, what does End of the World Ruler do? So, the relevant effect of this card is that it banishes one ritual spell from your deck to copy its effect upon resolution, similar to how Rollback copies any trap card. So, what are some upsides of this card? So, it allows you to use the same effects of Mitsurugi Ritual twice in one turn. For example, previously, if you ran like Kusanagi, Aramasa, Saji plus Night Sword Serpent, you would only be able to like activate 3 of them, because you would just go Haba, Tribute Saji, and then you would either send Aramasa, Night Sword Serpent, or Kusanagi. So usually Pure Mitsu decks didn't even consider Night Sword Serpent. But with End of the World Ruler, because you're copying the effect, it doesn't count that you've already used that effect. So in reality, you can just go End of the World Ruler, summon from hand, and then dump Aramasa Saji, and then add Murakumo, add Ritual, and then do it again. So it does improve your combos. Number 2, it banishes the ritual spell for cost, and that's actually a really good thing, because even if this effect does not resolve, for example, you go second, this effect gets like negated by, say, a Crystal Wing, you still get to banish the ritual spell for cost. So if you have a Habakiri in your hand, you can go Habakiri tribute tribute Kusanagi, and then Kusanagi can add effect from the banish pile, it dodge Ash, and then you can go effect ritual from hand, dodge Ash again. So it this banish for cost is an upside. And then on the last upside is on an empty board, it allows you to first ritual summon to beat Impulse. Now, Impulse has always been a really good card versus Mitsurugi, and having some options to play around Impulse on an empty board is one of the biggest upsides of End of the World Ruler, and I think that does improve the deck. Also, there's some like niche synergies as well. For example, if you use Subspace Battle to add this card, which by the way, Subspace Battle is very good with this card, even though I don't think you're going to be running it. You can go reveal, add Murakumo, reveal this, and then because this is End of the World Ruler in your deck, but if it's in your hand, it's Demise. It's actually not negated. So a completely resolved Subspace Battle is actually full Mitsurugi combo a lot of the time, unless your opponent like runs in a Bureau or something to just like beat this card, but I digress. Let's go to the next slide. Why does this card not save Pure Mitsurugi? So now, you might think that I'm trolling because like these like don't seem like convincing points, but keep in mind that all these points add up against it. So the first one is this card synergizes more with ritual monsters, but the issue is our best ritual monster that like is actually a starter that the OCG has at 3, that we only have 1 of this card. So this, remember, the End of the World Ruler is only a ritual spell. In order to resolve the ritual spell, you still need the ritual monster in the hand. That card is not a 1-card combo. And if we have to play 3 Murakumo and multiple Futsu to consistently utilize that card, because like if you just think about it, you're already running 2 to 3 copies of Mitsurugi Ritual in your deck. If you then run 2 to 3 copies more of Demise, That's 6 ritual spells. If you play 6 ritual spells, how many rituals do you need to consistently open the 2 card combo that you want, right? You have to play like 2 to 3 Futsu, 2 to 3 Murokumo, and at that point, how many how many dead cards on their own am I playing to fulfill this 2 card combo? And like how many non-engine slots am I gonna be playing less because I'm dedicating more space for that? And then number two, it, you might say prayers solves this issue, but the issue is prayers doesn't solve this issue. Number one, if you start with prayers and I impulse prayers, then the so-called advantage of not being able to get impulse on an empty board is gone because the impulse can get prayered. The prayer can get impulse. And then number two, if you burn your impulse before starting your Mitsurugi combo, this Mitsurugi combo is significantly worse. You end on less bodies, you get to less stuff. You probably don't even get your if you don't run Night Sword Serpent, you probably don't even get your Dugaras. So your end board is significantly worse if you have to go uh prayers, search Habakiri or Murokumo, and then do the combo that way. And then number three is I think the format has moved past the point where Pure Mitsurugi is a premium mid-range deck. Decks that splash Mitsurugi can take advantage of most of the upsides of the deck. For example, its resistance to Fua, its resistance to Purulia, without most of its downsides, which is the mid board that it produces in the end, and the fact that it has to run so many rituals, because the splashed Mitsurugi engine only runs 3 rituals, as opposed to like 17 rituals. What do I mean by moved past Mitsurugi? So the Mitsurugi problem right now is it is not its consistency. In fact, Mitsurugi is very consistent right now. A lot of the Mitsurugi lists you see aren't even maxing out on all the possible consistency options because let's be frank, Mitsurugi doesn't need more help playing the game. It needs more like it needs help on how to like change its end board, or like it needs more help on the board more than it needs help playing the game. Also, Mitsurugi's issue on the end board is that like power creep has made it so that like this end board you see on the right, I do not think that end board is like that winning. Obviously, you can disagree with me on this one. I know a lot of people by all means think that this end board is extremely winning. Like you have the Futsu, you have the Murokumo, you have the trap. But again, if I wanted this end board, why do I not just splash Mitsurugi? Splashing Mitsurugi gives you literally all of what's on this end board, except I have more on the end board, and I don't get any of the weaknesses of playing the Pure Mitsurugi deck. The Pure Mitsurugi deck has a lot of weaknesses. You'll know if you play Pure Mitsurugi. Like, this end board is just not very impressive, and also, Dugaras drawing into hand traps and stuff, you still have to play them. But if you have to play chummies in your deck, and you also have to put such a big engine to support the end of the world ruler, there actually isn't that many like real hand traps you can draw into. That's also like one of the bigger points. Now, moving on to the next point. More reasons why I don't see the deck performing. Pure Mitsu has no answer to Rolad. Like, the same reason why I told you that like Branded is seeing less play is the same reason why I don't see Mitsu seeing play at all. This Rolad matchup is so bad. It's like so bad. Black Chaos hitting the field when Rolad goes second instantly ends the game. Skull Archfiend just destroys your Futsu. You can't even prevent it. It's hard to kill through their Mind Shuffle loops. There's no answer to BLS. If you SP the BLS, or if you SP the Mind Shuffle, like, if they don't establish the Mind Shuffle, then, like, sure, you cleared it, but now you take them to the grind game, and they're just so much better than you at the grind game. And Mitsu's a deck that wants to grind, but can't grind forever, because, like, again, you have quote-unquote infinite follow-up, but most of your follow-up is fake. And then, like, at one point, you just don't have cards left in your deck, and your ritual monsters no longer reborn themselves, and then you lose the grind game, right? And then again, the Branded matchup. It's very hard to interact with the graveyard for this deck. It's impossible to prevent Albats if you don't have Impulse. Like, and Fall on the Virtuous target your Murokumo is literally game on the spot. Like, it is so often I've seen, like, especially since people are running Dark now, Dark target Murokumo is also just game on the spot. You have to do so much to prevent this Murokumo from hitting the graveyard, because the instant it hits the graveyard, you already lost this game. Because your deck doesn't beat Murokumo, which is funny enough. It's actually just so funny. And then, it's not guaranteed, but I'm open to being wrong about this. So those are like my points, like, on to why I think like the end of the world ruler. Like, I think it's a good card. I think it does stuff for Mitsurugi, but I think like we've moved past the point where like Mitsurugi Pure is like the standard, the golden standard for like mid-range decks in the format, right? Like obviously, I want it to still be the golden standard, like because I think this is a very balanced mid-range deck that doesn't put too much on the board. It doesn't like auto win the game. It gives your opponent a chance to play, but like you compare like the honest deck of like Pure Mizu to like all the dishonest decks right now, and it's like, yeah, in an ideal world, the game slows down to a point where this deck is playable, but I frankly don't think this deck is playable. And also, ask your friends to play Pure Mitsu. If you play Pure Mitsu, I want to ask you this question too. Do you really think that with this support, you're suddenly going to have a winning matchup into Branded? You're suddenly going to have a winning matchup into Rolad? Like to the bottom of your heart, I'm gonna ask you this because the where I put Pure Mitsu after this support is like not even tier 2. I think this deck is like tier 3 at best. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too pessimistic about it, but yeah. If you disagree with me, please leave it in the comments. Argue why you think Pure Mitsu will be good. Um, yeah. I'll see if people share this opinion or people like don't share this opinion. Please don't give me too much hate. Like yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Have a good day.